Well, it's 4 minutes to 8. Let's catch up on now. Let's talk football. And I could do it all day, but let's just confine ourselves to the European neighbours, France and Belgium, facing off tomorrow morning for a spot in the Football World Cup final. Thursday morning, it's England and Croatia for the other place. With her picks for how the teams will go, I'm joined in the Wellington studio by Football Ferns striker Sarah Gregorius. Good morning, Sarah.
Good morning, Gyles.
All right, let's get straight down to the nitty-gritty. Give me the two finalists. Who's going to win these semis?
I think it'll be Belgium-Croatia, but I would not be surprised if it went in complete the opposite direction and it was an England-France game.
Now, why are you going Belgium-Croatia? Because everybody else, well, I think largely will be going France-England.
Yeah, I think for me, Belgium just shade it in terms of experience in the semi-final tomorrow. I think particularly France have some very young and quite inexperienced fullbacks, and that tends to be where Belgium attacks, particularly on the counter. And I think for me, England haven't really faced that good of a side yet in the World Cup. I think they faced Belgium in their last group game, but that was a bit of a dead rubber. And in the other two knockout games, they haven't really been pushed in the same way that some of the other teams have. But Croatia, if they can pick themselves up after a couple of very, very, very tight knockout game wins, I think they'll shade it.
But the Croatians must be pretty weary because they've had lots of extra time, and that's just going to give them that little bit of extra fatigue, isn't it?
Yeah, they look dead on their feet. And I think if it goes to extra time again, I think England would shade it in that sense. But across 90 minutes, I think Croatia have a bit better quality.
Now, you've been to World Cup finals for women. You've been at Olympic Games and the like. What's the pressure like in big time tournaments such as this?
Yeah, it's a little crazy. I think you get sort of stuck in your own little bubble and you feel like you're at the centre of the universe. And I think for those guys, it'll be the same. They'll feel as if the world is watching, and I'm pretty sure the majority of the world will be watching. So it's a strange little bubble, but it is very exciting and it's very tense, very intense.
What players are you be looking out for in these semis, to actually the ones who need to stand up and really be out of their skin to win?
I think for Croatia it'll be again Modric and Rakitic. They've been the ones that have carried the team so far, and they'll have to put in a big shift against England as well. And I think for England, if they go with a back three, they're really going to be tested, so they'll have to stand tall. For France, I guess everyone's talking about Mbappe, but for me, Giroud and Griezmann are probably the key players. I think particularly Giroud, even though he hasn't scored, the way that he can pull others into the attack will be really crucial. And for Belgium, it'll be Hazard. He led from the front the other day, put in a real sort of captain's effort, and I think he'll have to do the same again tomorrow.
Why do you think the Belgians have emerged sort of from the shadows to be, in your view, favourites?
I'm not too sure, actually. I think it's just been fortunate timing. I think all of their most experienced players are pretty much in their peak, and I think, again, that's maybe why they shade France, who are perhaps maybe even 4 years too early in terms of their own peak. So I think it was just a coming together of everything good at the one time, and obviously their coaching staff is very savvy as well, and I think it's been almost the perfect storm.
Lovely. Thank you very much, Sarah Gregorius, who's a Football Ferns striker and has a pretty good insight into what's happening in the World Cup.
And you're listening to Morning Report in Wellington. Here's Gyles Beckford.